I don't know why they decided to name a hand grenade an explosive device, but after watching what it does, I think it fits perfectly.
The Harbinger Experiment, which also you said that there's posts on our subreddit that basically said like, oh, you should check this out. I remember it being good. Well, the one post you were reading me, it was kind of funny. The guy was like, yeah, you should read it. I don't remember anything about it. I just kind of remember that I think it made me feel pretty scared, but I don't remember. And you're like, what kind of review is that for the story?
Well, not to mention their context around that was I was in the grocery store with my mom. So
yeah, I love that.
Prime age to be scared by. It's also funny to imagine a woman walking around and like there's an iPad boy next to her listening to creepypastas.
Yeah, and a version 1 iPad, giant brick, reading Harbinger Experiment, whatever.
Which was unironically me.
This. Yeah, you were that little kid. Hello. What is that on your iPad? Basically smut. You just have to tell him. It was this. We ended up on this too. One of these days, I keep seeing people. There's a story called Happy Appy that people say is like a classic or something too. So I don't know. That's one too, though. I think we're gonna have to read in the future. But I looked at the length of it. I was like, oh my god, this is like a fucking 4 or 5 hour long read.
Yeah. So. Well, you'll be excited when that one shows up. So
okay, so that's a terrible story, is what you're saying.
No.
You're a horrible liar. That I immediately can tell that that's going to be a dog shit story. If it's a fucking my best friend's ruining my life, I can't do it. If it's that long of a story and it go that was an actual prison sentence.
You didn't appreciate what that story gave us.
I hate David King so much.
No, well, yeah, the point of the story is to hate David King, but
fuck you.
God, fuck off. I think what's important.
You don't get it, princess. That's what he wants you to do.
That's what he wants you to do. No, you don't appreciate that story because there are so many boring stories where I wish it became a PSA about credit card fraud. And
I mean, that's
like
true.
David broke into the apartment and choked his roommate to death for no reason.
That is true. If you're going to go there, at least go there. And it did go there. I mean, I will give credit where credit is due because I know that for some god-awful reason, it's one of our audiences. I would say it's like a top episode. People fucking love that episode.
Don't say for some reason. You know exactly why. You were screaming. I was laughing.
It's the crash out, but I'm not going to, I refuse to acknowledge it. I went to one of my buddy's churches and they were like, it was just death and hellfire it was horrifying. Yeah. And then there's other churches where it's like, oh, this is awesome. This is lovely or whatever. So I could see some people taking that and being like, I'm afraid.
Is this religion the same, or not religion? Is this church the same one that told your mom you need professional help?
No. That was a different church and they were kind. I drew a lot of very odd things. I don't blame them for what they said.
How old were you?
I can't remember. Maybe like 11.
So at 11, church faculty who met you one time immediately pinged that you needed psychiatric help.
I think around that time I was really hooked on this comic, this Tokyo Pop manga. I don't even know if Tokyo Pop's a company anymore. There's this Tokyo Pop comic called Priest, and I was so stoked on it. It was by this fucking awesome Korean artist named Minwoo Hyung, and he was amazing. But anyways, he drew these it's kind of like this Western. I don't know if you've never looked at that comic, Isaiah. I think that you would actually like it a lot, but it's an interesting like Western comic, but it's all about like a guy who takes a deal from the devil, yada yada. Like that's pretty generic, but the way that the guy draws is awesome. And I remember I just kept drawing all these he shoots all these angels because all like the devil's henchmen are all like the angels that went with him or whatever, but they still look beautiful and it's really cool. But I kept drawing all of these like people like getting their like wings ripped off and shit. So like I could see people being like, oh, this child has evil in his heart. But I was just stoked on Priest. That's all it was.
Sure. Okay. Also, it was funny a second ago when you said, I think this is a lot of these doomsday stories come from people in the Midwest or South. And I see now that you were talking about because they have religious influence. I thought you were implying because in the Midwest, the rapture just happens every now and then.
That is true too. I think just being in these flyover states, you never know what happens. And I think that it's just constant sorrow. The entire idea of the Midwest is to leave the Midwest. And if you don't, then you're just kind of stuck. So it is just abysmal terror forever.
Just wanted to thank everyone who is listening on audio platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you for giving us nice little reviews as well. I appreciate you. And also to our patrons who support us behind the scenes and help us keep this thing going. Isaiah, are you ready to jump back into the past as I dive in with you?
I'm ready to jump into the past. I'm ready to see if this was something actually scary or if this is just another public flagellation. So we'll find out.
I always like to think that whenever we go into these, I never think they're going to be scary like these old ones. Mm-hmm. But I am curious to be like, oh, I can see how people maybe read this and influenced all this other stuff, you know?
Especially kids.
100%.
All right. Well, like I said, story was written by Zion J. He's written a few stories, most recent of which was in 2016, but we'll leave a link to his creepypasta profile in the description so you can check out the other stories. Anyway, without further ado, the Harbinger Experiment.
Should we also shout out the author and stuff real quick?
I did. That's what I just did a second ago.
Story was written by Zion J. He's written a few stories, most recent of which was in 2016, but we'll leave a link to his creepypasta profile in the description so you can check out the other stories.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, right before I started, I said we'll leave his link below. Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry.
Did you go comatose for a second?
I always am.
All right.
I'm in a constant state. It's like a river.
All right. Make sure you leave in him asking me to shout out the author just so the audience knows what I go through.
That if you leave it in editor, you will be fired.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
But I promise you, this is neither my intent nor my purpose. Why would you say neither intent nor purpose? That's the same thing.
I just really driving home the message.
Just making sure you know. I fear. Okay, so
it was neither what I meant to do, or what I intended to do, or was my purpose. The Holy Trinity.
Furthermore, this was not my purpose, my intent, my assumption, my direction, my directive. That sentence scared me a little bit. Where it's like, I fear that this will fall on deaf ears and be another spooky story because I feel like a lot of the creepypastas back then would do this thing where it'd be like, you may think this is just another ghost story, but it's not, you know?
I do love that. I love that young energy of just being like, you could just make this into just another spooky story. But it's not. But as a kid, though, I know that I would be in. I'd be like, oh, what? Is this real?
Yeah.
It's like whenever the first time I saw Paranormal Activity, I was like, why are you fucking, that was real? What the fuck? You know, just because there was no credits or whatever. I want to thank you, Paramount Pictures. You're like, what? Yeah. That kind of thing.
Yeah, like I said previously, I would, this and No End House were the ones when I was really young, like 13, 14, that I would always tell people was my favorite. Or I'd be like, oh, this is the best one ever. It was like this, No End House, and I think Anassi's Goat Man were the ones that were like prime for 13-year-olds.
No End House was good, though. I like that one.
It was good. It just wasn't like the scariest stuff. Like now we've read stuff that, you know, far surpasses it.
Sure.
That I wouldn't have appreciated when I was that age.
Yeah. Well, the pool of stuff must have been so much smaller back then, too.
It was a lot smaller. And it was also the quality. And primarily I was 13, you know?
Yeah. Like you're a different human being now than you were when you were 13.
Yeah,
you know?
if I read Pen Pal then, like, sure, some moments would be scary, but I'd probably see it as like a lot of dialogue and stuff that...
Yeah, just goes over your head.
Just goes over your head with a lot of it. Or like, I don't appreciate how well built the scares are and stuff like that.
Sure.
Whereas now it's way more impactful. At the time, a house with 7 creepy doors was way more impactful.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's one too many doors.
Oh my gosh. If it was 6, I could take it, but 7?
6 is fine. Yes. If it was 6, I wouldn't be pissing my pants. But 7, that's why you hear those driblets.
That's right.
Hitting the ground.
That's why you hear those driblets. Actually, wasn't it like 9 doors? I think it was way more. That's way more than 6.
You're asking the wrong guy, dude.
That's way more than 6. I remember he thought he had gone home and then he drives to his house and his parents are dead. And then it's like there's another door. Yeah. There's another door that was like a time warp where like he spent an eternity in the void or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, when I was 13, I'm like, oh my gosh, this door is even creepier than the last.
Yeah, oh my God. All these doors.
They keep getting scarier.
Let's just start from the top of this paragraph again.
I thought you were about to say the whole story. I was like,
Yeah, let's just fucking restart. Fuck this.
I would like to keep the identity of the scientist a secret for personal reasons. So throughout this recounting, I will refer to him as Zimmerman. Of course, it's a... All right. Now, you know what? It could be I could clown on it for having a stereotypical German name for a German, like an evil scientist, right?
Sure.
But I'm not going to do that because it could be good. The story could be good. And I'm just getting flashbacks.
You can have a German scientist. I'm not faulting it for having Zimmerman. That's fine. If he said Count Zimmerman, I'd be like, okay, let's fucking reel it back. But Zimmerman to me is fine.
You know what? Maybe I'm just afraid because what's happened several times in the show is I've pulled up a story I liked and it's been just trash. So I'm just
90% of the stories we read, Isaiah.
Okay,
so it's fine.
You don't have to go that hard. But I've just got my gloves up a little bit. But I'm good. Okay. The word Harbinger itself has such a mysterious and intimidating taste to it. Maybe it's the way it rolls from our tongues, or maybe it's simply due to its association with the project. But the word always seems to carry a certain amount of doom with it, which would make sense. The word itself means to warn or forebode. Keeping it together, we're not. The word seems to carry an amount of doom with it, which would make sense since it means doom.
Which would make sense.
That would actually make sense because that's what the word's saying. It
definitely feels like he's putting on like the anime gloves and kind of like, messing with his hands.
That would make sense.
You should be afraid. Very afraid.
Whenever I think of the word car accident, I think of a car wreck, since that's what the word means.
Of course, Dr. Zimmerman. Right away, Dr. Zimmerman, yes.
When I think of the word explosion, I think about something blowing up, since that's what explosion means.
Since that's pretty much what blowing up means. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying for us. Which would make sense. The word itself means to warn or forebode. I can't imagine Zimmerman's reason for giving the experiment this title, but in retrospect, it fits perfectly. Gosh.
I can't comprehend at all why he would give it this title. But in retrospect, it actually makes a lot of sense. It's like, well, that probably means that he knew that it was going to be a fucking like doomsday experiment, right?
I think of...
No, Dr. Zimmerman would never be so crass with his titles.
When I think of an explosion, I think of something blowing up. I don't know why they decided to name a hand grenade an explosive device, but after watching what it does, I think it fits perfectly.
The doctor at the psych ward this guy's at just takes a gun out and blows his brains out. I can't do it anymore.
Just saying words sound like other words and then now understanding why words are named what they are.
Yeah. When I think of cheese, I really think of the word milk, which is pretty much because that's what cheese is made of.
I don't know why they call sour cream a dairy product.
You would have to take that person and treat them like a 14-year-old lab. Well, time for a little taste of death, buddy. Time to put you down.
Go ahead and eat the chocolate.
Here, this is Ghirardelli dark chocolate. You're gonna want to. Ooh, it's tasty, isn't it? When I think of chocolate, I think of cocoa. Eat it. Eat the chocolate.
I don't know why they called the mocha at Starbucks a coffee with chocolate, but after tasting it, it fits perfectly.
I don't know why they call it mocha, but when tasting it, it's perfectly
It fits perfectly. I see why they did that now.
Dr. Zimmerman You are a treasure.
I can't imagine why Zimmerman called the Nutty Butter Crunch bar what he did. But after tasting
But with how
it,
crunchy it is and how nutty it is,
perfectly.
it makes perfect sense. It fits perfectly.
If me and you get bogged down in a corner like that on a track, we're never coming out of the turn. We'll just spin in the mud for a while.
We have got to persevere. It also doesn't help. We're recording kind of early in the morning, and I feel like it's us getting. This is us like really coming into the day. So I feel like this is just like revealing itself very slowly, and we're getting fixated on it.
He told us he was working on something big and that he needed people who could keep. Okay. I will not think about the something big being a Nutter Butter Crunch bar. I won't keep it together. He told us he was working on something big and that he needed people who could keep confidentiality and not spread idle gossip of his work. While he did not fully trust some of us, he did know that we were professionals and that for some reason or another, we were all in dire need of employment. I'd worked at the local clinic as a doctor, but I was caught stealing medication and was probably fired.
What?
It's a funny note.
What is that?
I steal drugs from work. That's why I'm here.
I steal hard prescription medication. Do you think it's because is he using them, or I don't know. It doesn't matter.
He's Dr. Zimmerman saw him and was like, "This man's perfect. The guy that steals medication, he can be trusted to keep his mouth shut."
Well. The doctor who steals hydrocodone and sells it to 12-year-olds. You're going to be perfect for my something big experiment.
They don't know they're going to die. Which is kind of... Okay, I'll quit. I don't know why he called it the death chamber. Death makes me think of dying. But after what happened, it fit perfectly.
It fits perfectly.
I found it so peculiar that Zimmerman would ask for a medical professional like me on a project like this. By the time it was all over, I understood why. It's like the third time. It's like a paragraph said it was like, oh, I get it now.
But I could see how that was. Or just I would come to regret that later.
Yeah. It's like, yes, we know we're reading the story. We get it. Yes. You're very scary. You're doing a good job. Zimmerman believed that he would be able to open a portal between worlds momentarily, allowing 3 random entities to cross over to our world, and each one of these beings would be trapped within one of the 3 rooms.
That's not going to work.
We will simply put them in the rooms.
Well, so the ghost-like creatures from the other world will basically see this vacant, very comfortable room and want to take a nap. From there, we will seal the door. Okay.
Thankfully, these multi-dimensional beings respect complicated hallways and doors.
They're so narrow that they'll be kind of weirded out and want to take a nap in the room.
No, you don't understand. We lock the door. They can't open it. Of course, they know what doors is. They wouldn't mess with that. That's a universal concept.
That's our dimension, not their dimension. They don't know what doors are.
When I think of door, I think I think of a gate. I don't know why he called it a door, but looking at it now, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's perfect. just walking through the bunker, just looking at stuff. I don't know why he called it a computer, but looking at it now, it makes sense.
Zimmerman just shoots him in the back of the head. This is not worth it. Whatever.
It's we don't need the nurse. That's okay. Yeah, 13-year-old me reading this like, that's a good point. The Harbinger does mean those things. Wow.
Yeah, it does mean doom. Yeah,
I didn't think of that. Wow. You're right. It does fit perfectly. After everything quieted down, I noticed something especially unusual. There was a strange sound emanating from somewhere. At first, it was barely noticeable. The only reason I heard it was because of how extremely quiet it was in the infirmary. But as time went by, it slowly began to increase in volume. After about an hour, it was loud enough that everyone else could hear it too. And after a couple more hours, its volume had increased so much that we could determine what the noise was. It was a song. One of the staff members identified it as Living in the Sunlight by Tiny Tim. All right, well, there it is. There.
What year did this movie come out?
2013. When did by this time Insidious?
By this time Insidious had come out, so that was just kind of I think that was just kind of the meta or the popular. It was just popular.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Living in the Sunlight is the one that is used in SpongeBob. Because what's the song again? Insidious. What's the one? It's Tiptoe Through the Tulips, right?
Yeah, tiptoe
through the window. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Living in the Sunlight's the one from the SpongeBob. I think it's from the pilot when he's making food for the Sardies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Living in the sunlight.
Yeah. So, you may think it's an Insidious reference, and you're probably right, but there is a chance that this is a SpongeBob reference. So
could very well be.
Maybe the thing that jumped out of room 1 and killed Frank.
Squidward suicide.
It was Squidward. It was Squidward with a shotgun.
Of course.
Apparently, his father loved the song and listened to it frequently. The song seemed to be on a loop and kept replaying itself. Although we were able to identify the noise, we remained unable to identify its source. We knew that it wasn't coming from the speakers because we had turned them off. It seemed that we could turn the song off, but it was to no avail. The source was completely unidentifiable. This added a level of extreme irritation to our already very present fear.
An unnaturally loud song that's also like one of the people's dad's favorite song is actually pretty fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Just repeating over and over again.
It'd be like, for me, it'd be like if Night Moves just started blaring full volume. Okay, that would actually be terrifying. Okay, now that I say that out loud, that would be pretty freaky. I'm in an unfamiliar place,
and it's so personal. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just odd.
I remember my what's that line near the end where it's like I'm playing a song from 1962. Ain't it funny how the night moves? I remember my dad singing that and like recognizing his nostalgia for it and stuff like that. So if I was in like an abandoned building and that was playing full volume, like I couldn't hear anything else, that's actually, it's
also
pretty good.
Unnaturally loud. Like it's just like it's getting louder even though we're standing in the same spot is insane.
Like something's getting closer.
Yeah, 100%.
It was around 8:30 that the ground itself began to shake once again, just as it had done the previous night. Panic began to spread among my fellow employees and me as the shaking grew in intensity. During this, I had the sudden instinctual feeling to look over at Subject 3's monitor. It was gone. Almost as if on cue, the power went out. Thankfully, the song did as well. All right. So, what is your game plan here, Hunter? This series of events is happening. Idea. You're down there.
I mean, like at this moment, it feels like what can you actually do?
If you try to go up the ladder, you get
the power
shot.
Goes out. You're in the complete dark.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'd cry. I'd probably get under a table and I'd just cry. I'd
probably cry a lot. Probably be a big baby. Probably be a big baby man.
I would be in extreme baby mode. I would initiate baby mode.
I would activate baby protocols. So I like that. I like the end scene. I wish there was more characterization for Zimmerman.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of stuff written down. I was going to say, I think that we might be on the tail end. I'd be curious. We should discuss it at the end or whatever. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts so far.
You know what, Hunter? You could just tell me to shut up.
Well, I guess it just made me. I feel like we're not too far from the ending. So
I'm just
oh, sorry.
It's just funny. I brought up a point. You're like, yeah, I've got stuff too. I got.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have thoughts, but I'm not going to share them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, I'm waiting.
I don't want to
like
hear
a good boy.
So.
Yeah. Oh, you've got stuff to say? I don't really care. I care about what
that was rude. What were you going to say? More characterization of Zimmerman?
No, I'm just giving you a complex. It was funny. Of the 15 staff members that took part in the Forsaken experiment, I'm the only one who survived. I've never returned to that all. Well, yeah, you're the only one who survived. You shut the door.
Everybody in, dude.
Everyone else. Yeah, pretty sure it's just you, dude. It'd be really funny if he just had his phone on it's just playing the song over and over.
Living
again.
in the sunlight, but a bit of unlight, but a bit. Yeah.
He confesses all these government secrets. He's like, my time is up. And it's just because he has
Oh, shit,
Spotify
my
open.
Spotify was open. Yeah.
Oops.